Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Today, Duane Toews visits with Shelby Watson from USAPEAK. She talks about how exports are important to poultry products right down to their feet. Next, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Then Duane Toews visits with Gerardo Rodriguez with the U.S. Meat Export Federation, who talks about the development of new products to keep U.S. meat in high demand in Mexico. Then we'll meet the Kirshen family, one of Kansas Farm Bureau's 10 farm families of the year. And to wrap up, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Now let's find out how trade with China directly affected products, including chicken paws.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Shelby Watson with USAPEAK, a U.S. Egg Export Council.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's more than I can remember at any one sitting. So, Shelby, talking a little bit about exports and what they mean to the poultry industry and ultimately the grains industries in the United States. It's a big part and a big player in profitability for producers.
Absolutely. You know, the soybean and corn industry is an integral part of the poultry industry. Domestically here, domestic consumption is tapped out. So if we're going to grow in the poultry industry, that meat's got to go out of the United States into our international markets. So we really work on opening, developing, and protecting those markets.
We think about the geopolitical situation right now. It's an interesting world in time that we're in and trying to get trade agreements put in place. But they are such an important facet of what you guys do to create those relationships to get that export market and remain profitable for producers here in the U.S.
Absolutely. We have great relationships with the USDA and their offices across the world. So we've got great relationship, and we're able to, you know, if we need them, they're there. We have the phone call right then and there. We know who to get in contact with. And we also work with National Chicken Council, National Turkey Federation, and the American Egg Board. They really help us on the lobbying side of things.
So thinking about some of those export markets, where do we see great potential for the poultry industry?
Well, China just opened back up after 5 years. They closed after the avian influenza scare back in 2014. So that's a really big opening for the U.S. poultry and egg industry. But we also just opened to India. That has been something that kind of came out of left field. Our president, Jim Sumner, he would say that he didn't expect for that to happen in his lifetime, much less in his career. So we're really working there on developing the need for consumption and the need for the protein. And we think that if we can get their consumption up, then they might be our next China. So lots of opportunity there.
When we think about those two countries combined, a fair percentage of the world's population and an emerging market with the growth in incomes, protein is a deficit in India, and what a great opportunity.
Absolutely. And then you also have African swine fever that's playing a role in that, and it's reshaping the global meat markets. They're going to need to fill that void that they're losing on the pork side, and we're hoping that poultry will be a factor in that. We hate to benefit from such a devastating situation, but it is going to play a big factor in that.
We think about some of the things that we utilize typically within the United States. Some of those pieces and parts that maybe aren't terribly favored in the U.S. Have great value in some of those export opportunities in other countries.
Absolutely. I think the best example of that are the chicken paws that the Chinese market goes crazy for. The paws is a fancy word for their feet. It's like their bar food. They sit at the bar and they pop the feet in like chips. So without the Chinese market, they're worth like $75 million alone. And with that market back open, they're worth $835 billion.
It's amazing how an opportunity like that presents itself. You'd referenced that the poultry industry is uniquely tied to both the corn and soybean industries. They are a huge player in profitability for growers here in the U.S.
Absolutely. We have incredible support from the soybean and corn checkoff programs. We actually, almost half of our funding now is coming from the soybean and corn industries. So the mutually beneficial relationship is well acknowledged. And we are grateful. We couldn't do half of what we do as an organization without their help.
Our thanks to Shelby for joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Coming up after the break, it's this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Ed Beeman, Senior Director of Emerging Markets and Regional Director for Sub-Saharan Africa with the U.S. Soybean Export Council, is joining us. And Ed, one of the things for USEC that's important is the ability to leverage checkoff dollars and looking at it with the Ag Trade Promotion Funds.
We do have the opportunity to have not only USB checkoff dollars available for our marketing efforts around the world, but we have FAS funds as well. We not only have FAS funds, but we now have the ATP funds. So thanks to a USB project that we started about 1.5 years ago, we've been able to jump into some of these emerging market spaces that we just otherwise wouldn't have had the funding to be able to do. And then you supplement that with various funding from FAS and the ATP. We now have the ability to put together a very robust program in some of the emerging markets.
What are some of the main goals that you would like to see?
We want to continue to build a presence and a space for U.S. soybeans. That's our number one objective, to be able to demonstrate to people that there is a difference in global soybeans. U.S. soybeans have certain qualities and traits that make us stand out from the competition. So a lot of our work around the world is educating people on those value propositions. In the emerging market space, you have to really take that back another step and say, what do we need to do to the entire soy value chain to make sure that it's as efficient as it can possibly be? So one of the programs that we're very excited about is what we call Soy Excellence Centers. We're in the process now of developing the roadmap for a Soy Excellence Center in Nigeria. We have a center in Egypt that is just getting started, and then we'll have one that'll cover Southeast Asia and Asia subcontinent countries, as well as one in the Americas region. So the Soy Excellence Centers are exciting to us because it allows us to create a platform for one-stop shopping on training and technical education. That's what we're designing and building right now in Nigeria. We're very excited about it. We've got the industry engaged, the government's engaged, the health department's engaged. Everyone is engaged in this because in Nigeria and in many of these markets, protein deficiency is a huge problem.
That is Ed Beeman, Senior Director of Emerging Markets and Regional Director for Sub-Saharan Africa. He joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
After the break, learn about new U.S. meat products hitting the shelves in Mexico.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me. Let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Let's go to Duane Toews and Gerardo Rodriguez and learn about new U.S. meat products offered to Mexican consumers.
Duane Toews joining you once again on the program. An opportunity to catch up with Gerardo Rodriguez with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Gerardo, we think about the work that the organization does around the world, but specifically in Mexico, which is where you work. Talk a little bit about the U.S. Meat Export Federation and the relationships that you've built through the years with customers in Mexico.
Thank you very much for this interview, first of all. I'm based in the city of Monterrey, and I am the director for Mexico, Central America, and the Dominican Republic, which is 8 countries. In the case of Mexico, which we have been a long-term relationship with our key contacts and importers for 1994, since we started the NAFTA, this relationship has been growing and growing since then. We are confident that now with the USMCA agreement, I know for sure that is going to keep improving on the market. Now, Mexico is expanding on the consumption per capita. It is expanding. We're expanding the region. We're expanding on the products. Just to give you an example on this new product development, on this expansion that we are very aggressively targeting the Mexican market is we work together with different process companies in Mexico. And in the last 12 months, we developed 8 to 10 different products that they didn't exist in the market in January 2019. So in the last 12 months, we have been launching products for all different segments, for all different channels. Actually, one of the products that we're launching is healthy snacks on pork products that are being sold in the convenience stores. So we are reaching now, this is a new way of selling pork in the convenience stores, which is basically a channel that we were not very working with in the past, right? So that is just one example among many others of examples that we are developing new products in the market in which we are willing to find the ways how can we keep U.S. pork and U.S. beef being the center of the plate for the Mexican and Central America consumers.
Well, it's a different market product-wise in terms of taste and selection than maybe what we see sometimes in a U.S. grocery store. But understanding your consumer, ultimate goal of U.S. Meat Export Federation to get that product to their table.
Yes, in the case of pork, for example, of the total amount of pork being exported to Mexico, 63% is just one product, which is bone-in hams. So we want that this one product, well, number one is we want to expand the percentage of other items being exported. We want to develop new opportunities on loin. What can we do on loin? And loin, it is another item, it's another cut that we are very aggressively developing new markets and new ways of promoting and selling pork. But once again, we want just to be a commodity. We're much more than that. Why is that? Because of the quality, because of the consistency, because of the attributes on the products makes a very different quality in the product. So we are just more than just a raw material. We are much more, and that's the reason we can develop so many other things. In the case of beef, we also work with the underutilized cuts. We work a lot with the chuck. We work a lot with the rounds, all different kind of cuts that they're not very much popular in the United States, let's say. How can we find these other markets a better niche, more profitable for the producers? This is the case of variety meats, specifically tripe, beef tripe. We call it menudo. The menudo, it is kind of a soup with the tripe, in which we can see the growth tremendously from 2018 compared to 2019.
Reaching consumers in Mexico and how they buy product is changing there, just like it is in the U.S., though, as well.
Definitely. The change, the evolution on the way they're buying the products is completely different in the last 3 years. We have seen the growth in the e-commerce, the way they and it's not only the retail chains with the .com. It is third-party companies that are offering the service of doing the groceries for you, and they take it to your place with no problem at all. So this is very convenient for the people. So it has some goods. It has some other things that we need to adapt on this new way of people buying my products and how I am going to be able to develop that message and education on my products, how do I want them to use my products, how they can better cook it, and all the things that we want to keep in a message, in a constant communication with the consumers. It is making an evolution, and we're shifting towards that end.
Our thanks to Gerardo Rodriguez, Director of Mexico and Central America for the U.S. Meat Export Federation, joining us on the program. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break and meet the Kirshens, one of Kansas Farm Bureau's Farm Families of the Year.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansas Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
John and Emily Kirshen operate a fourth-generation farm that started as a commercial dairy operation in 1974. Now, the farm consists of 4,000 dryland acres of wheat, corn, and soybeans. The Kirshens utilize no-till and conservation tillage practices and plan on continuing the family operation in hopes that it will be taken on by the next generation. John is currently serving as president of the Sedgwick County Farm Bureau. He has also served as a scholarship chairman and vice president. Emily has helped maintain the County Farm Bureau website. Both have attended the Kansas Farm Bureau annual meeting for 3 years and the American Farm Bureau Federation annual convention for the last 2 years. The couple is very active at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, where Emily is a Sunday school teacher. She also works with local co-ops in creating and distributing their newsletters. John has served on the board of Farmers Cooperative for 9 years, where he was secretary and treasurer during his terms. John and Emily have seen and experienced firsthand through watching their families when they were younger, and now as producers, that being part of Farm Bureau adds value to not only their operation, but to their family as well.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Clyde Sutton, Nest City, Kansas. Lived on this place all my life. About a year and a half ago, got to where I couldn't saddle a horse. The pain was terrible. Read about stem cell. First it wasn't for me, then they started doing neck and back. Went and had it done. As you can see, I saddled a horse. I'm still building fence. Love to shoot a shotgun rifle, and I'm able to participate, not like I used to, but nevertheless I can do the things I used to do, and life is good.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Supply. This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, with the guy that says going faster when you're lost won't help a bit. Duane Toews.
Well, it depends on whether you're wanting to get there or not.
You'll get there wherever you are. Wherever you are, there you are.
There he is.
There you are. Wherever I am, there I am.
Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. Prior to the invention of the toothbrush, humans used chew sticks to clean their teeth.
Oh.
Fact or fiction?
Now, what's the difference between a chew stick and a toothpick? You're not saying?
I'm not here to hold your hand. It's a fact or fiction.
Chew sticks. Well, I've cleaned my teeth with a chew stick because I've chewed on a toothpick. So I'll go with fact.
That's what it says. The picture actually looks something like a about a half-inch round stick, kind of gnawed on the one end. So
my wife, that drives her crazy. She hates that.
Not exactly a toothpick.
So were you a pencil chewer in school?
No.
Did it repulse
I know what they put in
you?
those things. Just kidding.
I was a pencil chewer.
Really?
As I look back, I run onto a pencil once in a while, and oh my goodness. I mean, I could have been easily recruited by the Beavers.
What is the purpose?
You've never seen anybody that was a pencil chewer?
Yeah, but I haven't really understood why. Is it like a nervous habit?
Oh, yeah. As I was chewing, my leg was bouncing up and down, and I was picking my fingernails and everything at the same time.
I have a what do they call that? Something.
A nasty habit?
A nasty habit. My leg bounces a lot.
Oh, I do that a lot, too.
It's a nervous twitch, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. And I don't think it's necessarily nervous. I mean, I do it when I'm just, like right here, I'm sitting here doing it now that you mention it. And it's like...
I do it sometimes like in bed, and my wife discourages me with negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
Because it's references like trying to go to sleep in a boat.
Well, yeah, shaking bed. There is a restless leg syndrome.
That's what I claimed I had.
Okay.
She says I don't. However, she really isn't a medical doctor, but I've never asked one of those either.
Well,
she says it's a conscious act on my part.
Well, do you do it when you're awake or when you're asleep?
Both.
Well, when you're asleep, I can't see how it could be conscious.
Well, I guess I've never paid attention when I was asleep. But know whether I was.
Well,
doing
she
it or
obviously
not.
wasn't awakening you. Your leg bouncing was probably covered up by your snoring.
Yeah.
It's like you can pick
There's
between the
bigger
two.
issues here. Which one do you like less?
Which one do you like less? Exactly right. The restless leg syndrome, I think, can be a pretty big deal. I mean, just think about a muscle that never rests.
Well, get tired.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a pretty big deal.
It might build up. And imagine if it was only in one leg and not the other.
He'd walk in circles.
Look at that guy. He's got like one really big leg and one not so big leg.
Well, and just think of the calories you'd burn. It'd be like you should put a Fitbit on that.
That's my problem. I used to be thin before my wife started getting on me about my tap and leg problem.
And so now you don't. You're not doing any exercise.
I'm trying to not do it as often. And
you just need to put a Fitbit on that, and then when she gives you a hard time, going, hey,
look at the number of steps I got
Look how
today.
many steps I got today.
I actually have watched the one on my iPhone, kind of tracking how many steps I take a day. I got to admit, I'm amazed at the shape I'm in for no more exercise than I get.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.